Hey guys, time for another game theory sort of psychology video. Remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, silly comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. You know, I like these kind of sort of deeper quotes. Sometimes I've done multiple videos talking about that one. Talent hits the target that no one else could hit, but genius hits the target that no one else could see, right? And I saw another quote that I think is a good one recently. And is, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. And it's an Einstein quote, right? Again, let's say it again. If you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself, right? I'm going to use this a little bit loosely though, and I'm going to come at it from the perspective of people overcomplicating things, or, you know, sort of being like a false prophet, you know, using way too many big words that they obviously, it doesn't even mean anything really, right? You know, because I think if we think about it, right, let's say admittedly, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm pretty stupid, okay? But as stupid as I am, in the grand scheme of video games and fighting games, as much as I know the very most minimal basics of certain frames in certain video games, you know, as stupid as I am on a certain level in fighting games, who has done more than me in terms of progressing all these games, right? So, seriously, no one's even close. It's ridiculous, the kind of stuff. I mean, I've predicted games just by looking at them, right? And I was thinking about this because of, you know, Street Fighter 6 is coming out, and I talk about how you can predict games and you know it's going to work. And I was thinking about Guilty Gear Strive. And I always think, you know, sometimes people, they just overcomplicate things, right? Take things, you know, one step at a time. You know what I mean? When I talk about, you know, say, this Street Fighter 6, you know what I mean? And I guess eventually there was this last beta test in London. People finally just tried doing a chain combo after the drive rush, right? Like, a lot of this stuff, it's not rocket science, dude. You don't have to be some crazy mathematician, actually, you know what I mean, to understand how a video game works, right? Too often people try to overcomplicate things, right? Like, if we were to go back, and I'm going to be all over in this video, I'm going to be all over the place, but I remember way back in the CVS2 days, right? When I was originally becoming known as like sort of a tech dude, right? I had just won some tournaments, you know, and then I was doing tech videos, and like I said, I didn't actually find it, but people were actually giving me credit for finding this Kim Infinite in CVS2, which again, I can't take full credit for it. That would be retarded and not, you know, real, right? You know what I mean? The Cyrec guys had the original idea for it, and I just showed a way to do it, so to speak, right? But I can't take credit that I am the one that discovered the Kim Infinite, even though sometimes people say that. But so back in the CVS2 days, though, one of the ways that, you know, people were trying to figure out if they were glitching the game or not, there was this one combo guy, and I'm not going to mention him by name because I'm not trying to talk shit about people, but maybe, you know, there's, I think, probably the biggest tech guy for CVS2. He made a lot of videos for CVS2, and he had his own web page for combo videos. And then he even made a Ryu combo video for Evo, although I think he did a lot of tool-assisted stuff, so it wasn't that interesting to me, right? But we were trying to explain how the game worked to people, and I remember he was always a guy that was trying to explain the game, and, oh, it's this many frames here, this many frames that, blah, 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 blah. And whenever people would ask me for something and I was posting on the forum, say for the C-Groove level 2 combos or whatever, right? I was always trying to explain it to, like, just like a baby step, dude. Like, imagine a person as a kid. I'm like, dude, just do this simple thing right here. And if your next super has no shadows on it, you know you're doing it right. Let's just start off simple, right? Because if you do some of these level 2 C-Groove juggles, whatever, that start glitching out the game, when you do a super, if you're still in that state, your super will no longer have shadows. And that's how I used to I was like, let's just keep it simple. You don't have to do the full combo, dude. Let's just see if you can time it by baby steps. And I remember that guy, you know, he was always posting, no, you explain it too simple. You need to explain this. You need to explain the frame, blah, 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 whatever he was saying. And it was like, dude, this dude doesn't even know what he's doing right now. Just explain it in a simple way. You know what I mean? And he didn't like that. And that was always like because that was even, you got to remember, I was a kid when I was doing all this shit. It basically explained to the other kids, or sometimes adults even technically, right? Actually, that's kind of crazy actually, right? If you think about it. I was actually a kid explaining to adults how video games work. That's some fucked up shit if you actually think about it. But, you know, that was always an example that I think about, is such a great example of, you don't need to overcomplicate this stuff, right? Explain it to someone like is a kid, right? Let's just like baby steps how you discover things. You don't need to know the exact frame data for stuff. It's not relevant to the conversation. You know what I mean? If the person goes down their journey of learning how video games work and they want to learn all the exact frame data of everything, that's fine, but you don't need that at first, right? I remember even when I was like finding all this Guilty Gear stuff, like people would get mad at me that I don't use the word prorate or whatever, and I use like simple phrases like, oh yeah, that move has a damage buffer on it so it does less damage. And people are like, no, you can't say a move prorates. We don't like that language. You gotta use more mathematical to select. It's like, who the gives a fuck? Are you kidding? Prorate? Or just like we showed that one example, the fucking Guilty Gear Discord. Just this is a great example, right? Not to go on a tirade about that, but remember like that fucking idiot Hono was trying to show proof that he's had proof that I hate transgender from 2005, right? And he posted a link to it, and I guess he was, you know, he's in an echo chamber of people lying about me. So I guess he must have assumed no one was actually going to click the link, because if you click the link, it was just me calling Chips Alpha Blade a Ninja Dash. But the community was so mad that I didn't call it the technical term. You know what I mean? Even though Ninja Dash, it's a cliche Ninja Dash. What do ninjas do? What does almost every fucking ninja or samurai do in every anime, every video game whatsoever? They kind of just take their sword, boom, they dash to the other side right through you. A Ninja Dash. Any fucking, a 6-year-old would be able to understand that. If you told a 6-year-old Alpha Blade, all these complicated terms, they're not going to know what the fuck you're talking about. And you got butthurt because I called it a Ninja Dash, right? You know, I've always called things weird, simple terms because using complicated terms means nothing. How many of these fucking, we talk about like fake prophets and everything, fake tech gods, whatever, they use all these complicated terms to sound smart, but they don't understand it themselves. Or they think they do, right? You know what I mean? Because they're trying to make everything a math. They can't even apply their so-called knowledge. They can't teach anyone anything, dude. As smart as they think they are, do they ever find anything in video games? If we were to look at Guilty Gear Strive, I was making these recent videos. Look at all that stuff I did for Guilty Gear Strive. I don't know any of the fucking frame data in Guilty Gear Strive. Oh no, Clayton's wrong, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, just look at the footage. A 6-year-old could understand this. Oh no, it's the most risky game ever to jump in because, you know, Daisuke was saying it, and the frame data, I don't know the frame data, but I'm sure the frame data is going to do this and all these frames here, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, if we just look at the footage, we can tell what you're saying isn't true. Oh no, the wall doesn't work like this. You know, there's going to be so many frames here. I mean, I don't know it, but I know there's going to be frames here, blah, blah, blah. Trying to use all these complicated terms. I'm like, well, I can just use, you know, my fucking, you know, got kicked out of high school brain, and I can tell you this is how the wall works. Oh no, it doesn't work like that. Oh, the game comes out 2 years later. Oh yeah, Clayton was right, but he predicted it too earlier. Who was that one idiot? Oh, no one would have ever been able to figure out how the wall works unless they used a cheat engine, because now we can use all the frames. And whenever anyone posted, you're posting exactly what Clayton said, the guy just blocked them. Like, are you kidding me? All these complicated terms a lot of times don't matter, dude. Over analyzing things doesn't always matter. It's not relevant to a lot of conversations that people talk about video games. Maybe if you're progressing down the road and you're thinking about, oh, I want to create my own video game, maybe, or maybe you just like the more analytical, maybe analytical and like a number kind of analytical fashion, I guess it matters to you. But a lot of the stuff, again, people talk about doesn't matter. And I'm not saying you can't, be intelligent about something when you're, trying to decipher how a game works. Because, say an example, back when I was predicting how Dragon Ball FighterZ was going to work, right? Predicted basically the entire game almost, right? It's ridiculous, right? And I was posting about stuff, and I was trying to have intelligent conversations with people. And I'm like, okay, so we have a precedent that this works like this. A, B, C, step by step, right? But then you would have some people, and they would start throwing out just completely, let's say, a 6-year-old kind of argument here. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, if that works, what if you call your one teammate and he's doing, a Kamehameha Super there, and then you call your other teammate and he's doing a Kamehameha Super here? And wouldn't it be cool if you could do a Sonic Sway? And like Budokai Tenkaichi, so while you're Sonic swaying, we know that you can now vanish. So then when you Sonic sway, and then do their laser beams go through and hit your partner? They're like retarded shit like that. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? Like, I'm like, okay, that sounds cool and all, but what the fuck are you talking about? There's no even reason to believe that's how the game works. Sonic Sway is not even the fucking goddamn game. Well, if you could Sonic Sway, we see there's a vanish, so maybe we could Sonic Sway here and then vanish here, and then your laser beam hits your laser beam. And I'm like, what the fuck are you? So you got to pick and choose sometimes. That's like a 6-year-old fucking idiot. Like, dude, okay. Don't actually be a 6-year-old. Don't actually be an idiot. Be able to look at like the tools of what you have and, to put the pieces together. You know what I mean? But at the same time, once you know what tools you have, be able to explain those tools in a simple fashion without overcomplicating it, right? You know what I mean? I talk about how did I find the cell loops? What a 6-year-old could have done it, right? I'm like, hey, we know his fireball hits twice. You tell this 6-year-old, hey, this fireball hits twice. Can you just do a special move after one hit? A 6-year-old would understand that you're not going to do it after the second hit. But these fucking idiots are like, I'm just not going to try. And I'm like, you're not going to try because are you a fucking idiot? Even a 6-year-old would be curious enough to try that and would understand that you cancel the first hit of the move that hits twice. You know what I mean? Did you get what I'm getting at? Again. So I was just thinking about, or even that fucking, what was that one strive thing? I posted how right when you hit the guy, right when they touch the ground, you know what I mean? It doesn't it will not break the wall with certain attacks and everything like that. And I remember, I remember eventually months and months down the road, people admitted that it was real. Fucking idiots, right? After I'd already shown it months before. And then what did they call it? Potemkin, they called it the just frame. They called it JFMF against the wall or something. And it was like, you motherfuckers hate that I call words simple things and that no one will understand supposedly a simple term for a word. But you want to call this the JFMB against the wall, Begafist, some shit. Like it was some really complicated fucking stupid name, and I just rolled my eyes. You know what I mean? Wow, way to overcomplicated it. Give it this fucking code name. You know what I mean? Like you're a fucking hacker. Oh, I'm gonna use a code name. Code name. Fuck my titties on Sunday. Non-binary. This blah blah shit. Whatever. And I'm just like, why don't you just say you hit the guy right when they touch the ground? A 6-year-old could understand that, right? Remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.